Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, before you start, I always also publish on Rumble if you're interested, and I'm basically on the socials, on the logos here. I have always links in the description for everything. And let's get started. So it finally arrived, Ryzen 7800 X3D review roundup. I managed to get the hardware unboxed and Gamers Nexus reviews here. Sometimes I usually get around in one or more two reviews, but we're already kind of known that the fact that this will be a good chip for gaming, for gaming, period. In terms of productivity, not that much, because usually productivity applications usually don't take advantage of the 3D cache. It's more about frequencies and IPCs, I think. But still, it's more than capable. It has like around, I think, if not mistaken, around 20% performance uplift, give or take, in applications from the 5800 X3D. And of course, gaming, it goes toe-to-toe with the 7950 X3D, sorry. Goes to toe-to-toe depending on some games, and then because of the two CCDs from the 7950 X3D, but it goes, it has like 5 to 10% from what I understood, more performance than the 13900K. But the fact that it does goes in some games, depending on the games, of course, goes toe-to-toe with the Intel chip. The fact, and the most important one, at least for me, is that the fact that it managed to get the same kind of performance, but it only uses like less 20% of power consumption, which is incredible. What they managed to do with this chip. But yeah, I will leave description links on the both hardware's unbox and Gamers Nexus reviews. They are very comprehensive, and even they usually use two suites of different games that they usually use for benchmark these kind of things, and how they go about it is kind of different, but the overall take, it's the same. If you really want a high-end gaming CPU, this is the one to buy. And at the moment, I will advise you to pair up with a B650 motherboard. Can be a basic one, because this CPU doesn't go for overclocking. It's locked, even though I already saw some news that people managed to unlock the overclock on this CPU, but it's not advisable because the cache is very sensitive to temperatures. And that might ruin the cache itself if you try to overclock it and go for higher temperatures than it's from the standard and locked frequencies and everything. Basically, this is it. Regarding the pairing up with the A620, because the power, the TDP of this CPU, it's a little bit more than 65 watts. It's even above the 88 from the A620 chips that by default supports this kind of CPU. I think we will have to wait some BIOS updates, more info, because I tried to see, there is not like definitive. They say they can handle but in some places it's not mentioned that it's like 100% sure. Supposedly it does, but 650 at the moment, it's the more, and even if you're going for this kind of CPU, I think better power delivery and better functions for gaming, like the M.2 support and everything, I think it's way better for this kind of high-end CPU. Basically, for hardware, this is it. So we have some interesting gaming news. No Man's Sky, they are putting out updates after updates, free updates. This one, Interceptor, adds like a new class of I think starships and gameplay mechanics here. It seems that they are improving a lot. It's been quite a journey for them, because when they launched, it was a mess, a complete mess, like a few years ago. But now it's a very well recommended game if you are interested in this kind of open world, randomly generated universe here. And I think it's well worth it to check it out. if you are interested. I also, again, I will leave a link over to the game in the description. I've got, yesterday I mentioned this one, the Inquisitor. I got more more detailed info. Basically, this is based on some series of novels from a Polish fantasy author, Czech Piekara, I think. Hope I'm not butchering his name. We have been seeing a lot of Polish authors, at least in terms of from movies and series, and a lot of gaming on this kind of world, from The Witcher. We got The Observer, I think, also, and they are very, very well intricate and very good universes, and how they try to explore a lot of different themes. And of course, this one is a very interesting take on the fact that Christ didn't die on the crucifixion and start put there in a revenge thing. But this is like the lore itself. The more interesting is how people going about in their world in the 1500s after this happened. And basically, I think it's very dark. The Polish authors usually are a little bit darker in how they're going about things, but it's very human nature based. And I think this is going to be an interesting one. I think it's prepared to be launched by the end of the year. We have also, I found this one little interesting fantasy first-person shooter. It's more about the animation and the proposing features of what they going about it. I leave it here, a link on the article for you to check the trailer. It seems very interesting how they're going. It's not very open world, but it's like a big area exploration things here. It seems very interesting. And I'm going right up with the gaming deal from Wall World. It's launched yesterday. I've been keeping up with Christopher Hod gameplay of this game. It ticks all the boxes of roguelikes, tower defense, strategy, mining. It's a very awesome game. How the mechanics that are implemented here, how they are implemented, and it's only $5, which is. I think usually this kind of games usually $10-15. It's a very good game. I don't know if it is very long per se, but it ticks all the boxes here so far from what I can perceive here. Even the tower defense mechanics here is not just like a static thing like Dome Keeper. It's more mobile, as you can see here on the video. And I think that is like a final boss per se, that you have to go about it because it has a timer. It's very very complex. But yeah, it's a go for me, even though I didn't play for myself. But I think it's well worth, and it's only $5, as I mentioned. I didn't see anything here more worth my time. We can try to see, because I only checked this yesterday, like late night. I don't know if I have something from my wish list that it's worth mentioning here. Got Mass Effect Legendary Edition, already spoken about. Midnight Suns. We got the Atomic Heart, I spoke yesterday, but yeah, nothing here from Steam worth mentioning. But yeah, I will wrap up for today. I don't want to overextend too much. Main takeaway is, if you were waiting for a decent CPU gaming, you got now one if you have for $150. And I'll wrap up here. I hope you had a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one. Till then, Kunamy Master out.